Since we haven't had a tech powwow in a while, let's go ahead and do a tech powwow with the topic today of let's use the tools that we are familiar with when we are in a situation in which there is a sense of urgency to get the problem solved. So imagine that a junior developer, below junior developer, let's say, contacts us and says, I'm running this JavaScript function in production and I'm not sure why, but all of my websites just crashed. And you ask them, hey, what server are you running it against? Your application server or your database server? And the person says, what's a server? And you ask them, okay, so hold on a second. Why did you run this JavaScript against your website? Or why did you run this JavaScript against your production website or whatnot? And the person says, oh, I didn't know what the script did. I just saw that it solved the problem I thought that I had. Okay. So I don't think that there is a sarcastic coding website that exists currently, but there might be one. But it's only a matter of time before we have the onion of coding solutions. And what do I mean by that is, imagine somebody decides to be kind of sarcastic and humorous, because it would be kind of funny in some ways. And they create a website called Here's How to Solve Some Problems. Like, here's how to solve your replication problems. Drop database, publisher database. There you go. I mean, all the errors are gone. And yeah, that certainly would, there would be people who would actually follow that advice. So my point is that if we're going to take code right off the internet and we have no idea what it does, are we entirely sure that the person that we're taking code from isn't being somewhat sarcastic? So just be careful, because it's going to happen eventually. There is going to be an onion of coding websites, I promise you. By the way, there was code trolling on, I think it was Code Golf. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think part of the reason why they stopped that was there were people who were actually trying some of those solutions. And if you've ever seen some of those tags, which they may have removed, but they are hilarious. The code trolling was the idea is you get the right answer, but you do it in the dumbest way possible. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think part of the reason why they stopped that was people were actually trying some of those solutions. So it's only a matter of time before someone creates kind of like the Onion Code website and they start posting code that's not solutions to problems. But the problem is if someone's a junior developer, someone who has no idea what they're doing, they may actually attempt to do something. So it is a good laugh, but it's a reminder that we should study some of the basics before using tools when we have a production issue, okay? So when solving problems, let's use the tools we know best. So let's say we know .NET, then let's use .NET, okay? If we want to learn something new, which is good, let's not use a production problem or when there's a sense of urgency to suddenly try to learn a new tool really fast. Probably not the best thing to do. And if you're a junior developer or DBA or anything watching this, just good practice to probably stick to the tool you know best when it comes to a problem being solved. And then let's be familiar with the problem enough before ever running code of any kind in production, because, and I'll give you a situation. In this case, I was dealing with a senior developer, and they just wanted me to continue running this code that the code inherently interfered with what was happening. And I said, no, let's run it on a time schedule so that we make sure we don't interfere. And of course I was right, but the point is that there's this, sometimes when people get into an urgent situation, there's an impatience that develops, and we have to be careful that our impatience doesn't interfere with what the problem actually is. And that comes back to, hey, let's be familiar with the problem, right? If the problem is due to a latency issue, do we want to create more latency? No, right? So that should be something we should be careful about. And then let's make sure our solution doesn't make the problem worse. This is the old syndrome of the cure is worse than the disease. So just follow those practices for this tech powwow. If you're new, if you don't know something, it's okay that you don't know something. Avoid using something you don't know when you're trying to solve a problem. If you are, let's say, a senior developer, just be careful about junior developers on this, because it can often happen with the more junior developers and junior employees, junior DBAs, etc.